Financially, going home, I did not have the same financial background as many people that I went to school with, but I never felt that way when I was in school. My mom never made sure that we went without. She always made sure we had. So for me to sit here and to act like I'm struggling so bad and I can't be grateful and I can't wake up with a smile and I can't wake up with happiness because I don't have exactly what I want to have in life is crazy to me. I can't allow myself to do that, and you shouldn't allow yourself either. I get it. You're going through it right now. And it's hard for you to feel happy. It's hard for you to be positive. It's hard for you to feel grateful because all you can think about is what you're going through. So in this video, hopefully I can help you get through those things and actually see the light at the end of the tunnel. So first, I want you to understand you cannot get more until you become grateful for what you already have. And before you guys leave the video, because I know that sounds so cliche, let me just give you an analogy and tell me if y'all like it. So I want you to think about what you want in life, i.e. your goal, as the house, right? The tools that you have already, which are what you have to be grateful for. Let's say in this specific example is I give you some bricks, I give you some cement, and I give you that little tool they be using to smooth everything out. The problem is you already have a lot of those tools. You already have a lot of basic necessities. Literally just watching this video means you probably have a major basic necessity. And the way you're looking at things is, but what am I going to do when I get to the top? Okay, yeah, I have the bricks, but like when I get to the top, am I going to have like a crane? Is there going to be a boulder? Like what's going to get me to like build the top of the house? And what life is trying to tell you to do is just start. With what you already have, just start. Whether you believe in God, whether the universe, whether yourself is telling you just to start. But the problem is you're worried about what you don't have. You're stressed about what you don't have. Well, I don't have a ladder and I don't have all these other things that help me build the top of the house. Build the bottom of the house, build the foundation, and those things will come. Those things will start making sense. You will start putting things together to understand how to finish the house. And so to use analogies of things that you already have now, think about some of y'all may ride the bus. Some of y'all may not even have a car, right? You ride the bus and you're mad that you ride the bus. And instead of looking at that as a privilege, instead of being like, you know what? I ride the bus, so, I don't even got to worry about what I'm driving. Right? I could just be free and I don't got to worry about the road. I ain't got to worry about what's going on because it's somebody that's designated to be paid to do that. Girl, you basically got a driver. Okay? You should be using that time to look up business plans. You should be using that time to listen to audiobooks. You should be using that time to get closer to, i.e. building that house, because that's a tool you can use. There are some people that you're trying to, emulate and you're fantasizing about when they drive to work, when they go to work, they have to focus on the road because they don't have that to do to just be carefree. But what you want to do is get on your phone, look on social media of everybody that has the nice cars and the nice clothes. And all you're thinking about is how you don't have those things and you want those things. Even somebody who has a car, some people when they go to work, they always got traffic. All you do is complain about traffic. But you know what you should be doing? Using that as the opportunity, being grateful and being like, you know what? This gives me time to actually listen to an audiobook. This gives me time to listen to a podcast. This gives me time to learn about something that I want to do that can help me elevate my life. Because that's the problem. When you get into that negative emotion cycle, you look at everything as being a negative. And so you're not able to lift yourself up. You're not able to look at these things as, okay, well, how can I use this thing to advance my life? How can I use this thing to, i.e. do more? And so one thing I want you to understand is you cannot elevate your life until you become grateful for the things that you already have. I know it sounds cliche. I know it sounds like hoopla, but it makes sense though. Like you can't get more until you use the things that you already have, even a phone that you have right now. And some people complaining, I have an old phone. You have a phone that you can see this video. Okay, that means you could search up a workout plan. Okay, that means you could search up how to invest in stocks. They call it YouTube University for a reason, because you can find everything on here, similar to school. So instead of you being fixated on wanting something else, and why can't I get that, and why can't I get this, why don't you invest into the things that can help you get those things? But first, you have to be grateful for the things that you already have. Next, I want y'all to do a little task for me. I want you to think of what are your top 3 values, right? Think of it as you're applying to a job or talking to a close friend. Like, take it seriously. What are the top 3 things that you value? It could be health. It could be wellness. It could be family. It could be whatever you think the top 3 things that you value. I'll give you a couple seconds. Now that you have those 3 things, I want you to, a lot of people have the app in their phone to look at their bank account. I want you to look at your bank account, and I want you also to ask yourself, how much time do you spend, how many hours do you spend a month on those things? because that will show you what you truly value. See, the problem is, and I think I've done this routine, this little workshop thing before, so you guys might be familiar with it, but the problem is you don't truly value the things that are going to increase your life. You value the things that dig a deeper hole for you to get away from the things that you truly want to do with your life. And that's why you are in the pattern of struggling. That's why you're in the pattern of not getting what you want. It's not because you're fixated on, you always have to be fixated on happiness. You always have to be fixated on, being grateful and all these other things. No, those are things that will come. But the first thing that a lot of y'all need to do, besides first being grateful for what you have to a certain extent, but also getting to a point of being like, okay, do I actually even use the things that I already have to get to where I want to get? Or am I using those things to put me in a different direction? And a lot of people are. A lot of your real values are to go out. A lot of your real values are to be comfortable. A lot of your real values are not a reflection of the things that you say you value. And that's why you're truly unhappy. See, we think it's because of our situation a lot of times. We think it's because of what we're going through. No, it's not necessarily what you're going through. It's more so what you're putting yourself through. Because most times than not, it's our own fault, unfortunately. And we like to blame external things, but it's really us. And so I want you to ask yourself, do you value things that are putting your life in the right direction towards getting out of feeling those bad thoughts and getting out of feeling like you're struggling? Or do you do things that dig a deeper hole to yourself, such as going out and having fun all the time and not using your time and your money wisely? A quote I recently read said, "Every time a big opportunity comes, you've been preparing your entire life for it." I want y'all to hear that again. Every time a big opportunity comes, you've been preparing your entire life for it. And the reason why I want you guys to hear that quote and understand that quote is it's not just what you do when it's convenient for you. It's not just what you do in your free time. Your entire life is preparing you for big opportunities, because there also have been big opportunities that have passed you, whether you know it or not, that you weren't prepared for. And so a lot of times we when we're struggling and we're going through things, we always see the negative. Like I said, we always see the negative, and we never use, like I said, the tools that we have to prepare ourselves. So when an opportunity comes to pull us up, to get us out of the situation, we're not even ready for it. A lot of y'all are not even ready to get out of the struggle that you have right now. That's crazy, right? The thing that you struggle over, you cry over, you stress over, you're not even ready to get out of it. You don't even do nothing ever to get out of that thing, to prepare yourself for that thing. If you had got a big opportunity for that thing, would you be ready? It's a lot of people that stress over not making more money, but it's like if somebody gave you, if your friend right now was like, "Girl, I got a job opportunity. It's in your field. You could make $500,000 a year. It's great." Would you even apply to that job? A lot of y'all wouldn't even apply because you wouldn't even feel ready enough. You wouldn't even feel like you're enough to even be qualified for that thing. There's no reason why anything you want in life you should not feel qualified for. If you have the ability to watch this video, that means you have a device. That means that you were able to wake up today. That means you have the ability to have a lot of motor skills, to see this video, to hear this video. Use those things. They may seem like basic necessities, but I say that all the time. You don't need to wait until something happens to feel like now you have to get ready for something. No, you should always be preparing, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know when the next big opportunity is going to come for you. That's why I always try to prepare myself for so many things in so many ways, whether it's health, whether it's wellness, whether it's mindset, whether it's financially, so many ways. I don't know necessarily when it's going to happen. Even with my channel. Right? I told y'all before, my goal is to get to 260,000 followers by December, or by January 1st. And I know one day I'm going to have that 1 million view video. I know one day the followers are going to come. I know it just takes one video. That's all it takes is one. And I post 3 a week. Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, if you're not familiar with my schedule. I post 3 videos a week. I know what's gonna come. I feel like good content. I know what's gonna come, but I'm preparing myself right now for it. I'm staying consistent. I'm staying with my schedule. I'm trying to get better at my content. I'm trying to think of new ideas for y'all. So when people finally do come to my channel, they can binge watch it. Now I create vlog content as well. If you guys haven't seen that, check that out, to show people what does it look like on a day-to-day basis, me doing some of the things that I talk about in my video. I have content even while I'm writing on a board to literally break it down for people who need more visual content. I have content like this where I'm talking. So people could binge watch my page and they could feel like it's not just a repeating of the same thing. They can get different things depending on what they need then. That's what I'm doing to prepare myself for what I want. And so I want to ask you, are you prepared if you got that big opportunity? And going off that big opportunity, to make it more specific, right? Think of the thing that you want in life. Think of a major goal that you have for yourself. And that's imperative too, to have a goal, to have something you're actually going after. And think of that thing on its smallest form, its most minute, its beginning form. For example, for me, when it comes to content creation, the smallest form of it I would think would be to make a social media account on whatever platform. The next step would be able to, have a device. Actually, the first step probably would be have a device. The second step will be use that device to make a social media, on a social media platform, to make an account. After that, it will be me making an account, me making a screensaver, all these other things. I say that to say, I first had to start with the first minute thing of making an account, getting a phone, before I even thought about growing on social media, before I even thought making money on social media, before I even thought of having a following. See, a lot of people, you thinking way too high. Like I said in the analogy in the beginning, you're thinking about the top of the house and you haven't even built the foundation. So what have you done? What have you done thus far as the beginning steps to get towards your goal? And then once you've done those things, do you know how to do those things? Are you consistent at those things as well? Because once it start coming up, that's when the consistency comes, right? When you building a house first, you just got to build, learn how to build the bricks. And after a while, you got to consistently, okay, I got to build this row. I got to build this row. I got to do this. I got to do that. So are you being consistent with those things as well? But that's the question I want a lot of people to ask themselves on the smallest form, on the most minute form, or whatever you want to do. Think about it. If you want to start a business, you got to think of a business name. What are you going to sell? Do you have a website? Instead of thinking about, I'm not going to make any money. How am I make all this money? Let's start with the basics. Because a lot of times you have what's necessary for the basics, going back to gratitude. But you still feel like you're struggling. You still see no light at the end of the tunnel. And it's because you're looking the other way. And one thing I want a lot of people to understand, I know not everybody from my channel is in America, but I know a lot of you are, you're spoiled. A lot of us are spoiled. And that's another reason why it's hard for us to have gratitude. And I'm not trying to diminish the struggle that you're going through. I'm not trying to diminish anything that you're going through. But even living in America, we have things such as Section 8. We have things such as food stamps. We have things even such as shelters. In America, if a police, now not everywhere, but on average, if a police officer was to see 2 children walking down the street, a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old walking down the street without shoes and dirty clothes, they would pick them up. A lot of countries, that's normal. And I'm not trying to make you feel bad or feel like you that kind of thing. But one thing I want you to understand is that a lot of times too, you are not happy because you have this idea of this ideal life that you're supposed to have. I want a lot of people to understand where we come from. And when I say we, it obviously depends on your ethnic background. But even speaking about myself, my grandfather, who is still alive, fought in the Vietnam War. Black man. Y'all know when this man came back to America, he couldn't even get a Coca-Cola out of a vending machine because of where he lived. He fought for this country. In the Vietnam War, I wish I had the specific statistic. You wouldn't even believe the amount of time it was predicted for a black man to die, because they always put the black soldiers on the front of the line because they would get killed first. And then also they said that they had to protect themselves from the back of the line, which are their own people, because a lot of white Southerners would kill them because they didn't like black people. Imagine that. You go across the world to fight for your country and you still have to literally fight your country while you're fighting someone else, and then come back to America and still get disrespected. Even thinking about my ancestors that were brought over to this part of the world, thinking about the intricacy of braids. I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with the history, but a big reason why braids have such intricacy and design was because a lot of slaves would use that as directions, paths. You follow the braids. Who think, like, the fact that they were even able to think of that? This group of individuals got themselves out of their situation when it was illegal. Illegal. It was a crime to teach a slave how to read. And I'm not trying to make people feel bad or feel sad, but it's just crazy to me that I go through things and I feel like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get out of this? And it's people today that are struggling to even get to the country that I'm living in. But then my people were brought over here and they had to do crazy things to just survive. And what did they do? They had gratitude. They used what they had. Like, think about that. Using braids, hair, and having to remember a direction. Even the Big Dipper. Follow the Big Dipper. Like, that's crazy for me. So for me to really sit here and really be on the type timing where I'm like, oh, you know, I'm struggling and I can't think of how to get out of this situation. I can't try. And I come from a lineage of individuals who if they did not try, if they had the mindset that I had, if they had the feeling that I had of feeling helpless, I wouldn't be here today. Even not even going too far back, my mother was a single mom. Financially going home, I did not have the same financial background as many people that I went to school with, but I never felt that way when I was in school. My mom never made sure that we went without. She always made sure we had. So for me to sit here and to act like I'm struggling so bad and I can't be grateful and I can't wake up with a smile and I can't wake up with happiness because I don't have exactly what I want to have in life is crazy to me. I can't allow myself to do that, and you shouldn't allow yourself either. It doesn't matter if your people came from that or not. It's just to even hear those facts and to know that individuals have had it harder than you, have had it quote unquote maybe worse than you. And like I said before, I'm not trying to diminish what you went through. But at the same time, I really want you to look at certain things and look at certain situations and be like, you know what? Is it really, I don't want to say as bad as I make it, but can I not make it better? Can I not make this better? This happened to me, this situation I'm struggling with, this situation I'm going through. But if you feel like in your heart of heart, you can't get through this, in your heart of heart, you don't know how you're going to get out of this, that's you basically saying you don't know how you could make it better. You struggling right now? Okay, you struggling. You can't smile because you're struggling. You can't be grateful that you have something. That's what's going to keep you in your struggle. And I know that kind of was me going off on a tangent, but I really wanted to tell that story because it evoked emotion out of me. I guess I probably can kind of tell, but it just really got me thinking because it's just hearing him and his story of coming to America and thinking about my family and their experience. And it's like, I really be in my head about certain things that it's like, don't get me wrong, I allow myself to feel. I'm all about feeling, but at the same time, a lot of people have did with a lot less. And I want you to understand, you cannot have a thankful thought and an anxious thought at the same time. So you cannot be thankful for what you have or whatever the case may be, and then also have an anxious or a scarcity thought. And it's vice versa. You can't have a scarcity and an anxious thought and then also have a thankful thought. For example, right now, I could look around my apartment and be like, I'm so blessed to have this apartment. I'm so blessed to be somewhere where I lay my head every single night comfortably. I'm so blessed that I feel safe where I live. I'm so blessed that I have a grocery store that's literally walking distance away from me. I'm so blessed that all of the, I almost said utility. Yeah, the utilities inside of my homework. In that moment, I could not think of the things that I did not have. It does not correlate. But if I have a stress thought, which I'm not going to go into because I ain't trying to think about that, I can't be thankful. And so one thing I want you to do is realize that and realize you've been in a repetition of feeling sad. You've been in a repetition of stress. You've been in a repetition of not feeling thankful. So we need to change that mindset and we need to change it to being things thankful and have thankful reminders. I've said it in a previous video, have sticky notes around your house that literally just write down things that you are thankful for. Past or present. Have a reminder in your phone, the same way you remind yourself to be doing stuff. Have a reminder in your phone, just what you're thankful for. And I know it sounds crazy, but the way I want you to think about it is, if I'm having a positive thought right now, if I'm having a thankful thought right now, I can't have a negative one. So let's start filling our minds with those positivity things. And like I said, it sounds a little hoopla, it sounds a little crazy, but two things can't coexist at once. So if you fill up your mind with all of these positive things, by default, it's going to start pushing the negative ones out. And to help with that, I recommend to watch videos, listen to podcasts multiple times. And an analogy I'm going to use is a iPhone, right? We're going to go back to the tools thing. If I was to give you an iPhone, but I broke it apart and I was told you to watch a video of how to put it back together, you'll watch that video. You'll be like, I kind of remember doing this. I kind of remember doing that. But if I let you watch that video every single day for 30 to 60 days, you could put that iPhone back together. Think of that same thing when it comes to your mind. A lot of times we watch these positivity videos or these self-reflection videos or whatever the case may be, self-help, self-growth, and we only watch them once because we feel like they've done enough. People comment on my videos all the time, like, this video has helped me so much. I'm going to use this practice, all these other things. And unfortunately, that probably won't happen if you only watch the video once. Because a lot of times too, it's kind of like watching a movie 2 times. The more you watch a movie, the more you pay attention to the little things that you didn't see before. Oh, I didn't see his eye did that. Oh, I didn't see her go there. Oh, I didn't even notice that she said that. And that's the same thing that happens when you constantly put good things into your mind. You start paying attention to the good things. And like I said, it doesn't have to necessarily be a specific kind of video. Like maybe it could be on self-sabotage if that's something that you're struggling with. Maybe it could be on discipline if that's something that you're struggling with. Maybe it could just be on motivation. Whatever you feel like is a tool that you need to help you, watch that video every time you wake up in the morning, every time before you go to sleep, every time on your way to work, and do it in a way where it's a constant. So don't try to do it like, okay, today I'm gonna watch it before I go to sleep, but then tomorrow I'm gonna watch it in the morning, but then tomorrow I'm gonna watch it. No, have a specific time in your day that you've sketched out that you're like, I'm listening to this video. I'm putting this inside of my mind. I'm reframing my mind to have these thankful and positive thoughts. Because that's another reason why it can't stick in your head. You watch one thing one time and expect to know how to rebuild the iPhone. That's not going to work. You need to put it inside of your head on a consistent basis. I recommend between 30 to 60 days of listening to the same video every single day. And it might seem like what is the point of this? And some days it might seem like, yeah, this is great. But the whole point is to make it regular for you. Those thoughts regular, those emotions regular for you. So you can start acting them out in your real life. And when you're struggling or you're going through things, another one I want you to ask yourself is, what would you say to your younger sibling or your friend or your sibling at all if they were going through what you're going through? Because it's a lot of times easier for us to be down on ourselves because we know ourselves. We know our past. We know all the things we went through and we're down on ourselves. So what would you say to them? If they were going through this, if they were struggling, what kind of mindset would you have them to have? Would you tell them that it was okay to wake up every morning and feel sad? Would you tell them that it was okay to not appreciate the things that they have? Or would you try to help them find the best? The crazy part is when it comes to us, our brains become a blur. It becomes a blob. But when it comes to somebody else, we could write up a whole game plan from A to Z of how to get here and how to get there and use this time to do this and use this time to do that. But when it comes to you, you're like, I don't know. So have that mindset. What would you say to them? And I want you to understand every single day does not have to be the most positive, cheeriest, grateful, happy day. The whole idea is to have this kind of life, to have a grateful life, to have a positive life, but that does not mean every single day is going to be positive. What do they say? It's okay to lose the battle as long as you won the war. Some days we lose the battle. Some days we have bad days. Some days we're stressing. Some days I'm not telling you to not feel. I don't want you to be numb. But at the same time, how was the war? How was the entire thing? Are you having a bad week? Are you having a bad month? Are you having a bad year? That's when it becomes bad. But it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to be down. It's okay to acknowledge your feelings when you're going through things. But what's not okay is to be stuck in those feelings and to convince yourself that this is just what life is and this is just what life is going to be and I can't be positive and what am I grateful for and I'm struggling. I just lost my job and I just lost this and I just feel that thing, acknowledge that thing, and then figure out what are we going to do moving forward. We ain't going to stay stuck in this thing because what are we going to do? Just go deeper and deeper and deeper. And as I said before, if you want to get into content where you feel like, you know what, I need to start immersing myself in this thing, I need to start listening to positive things on a consistent basis, of course, I'll recommend my videos and content. But also, if you go to my community side of my content, every single day, I post motivational quotes, usually 2 times a day, in the morning and also in the afternoon. And then I am currently starting to post daily motivational shorts. The whole idea I want you guys to get is to get into the pattern of making this a consistent thing for you. Getting into the pattern of being grateful, getting into the pattern of seeing the tools that you already have, getting into the pattern of understanding that you are having a bad day, but you are not having a bad life. I say that very frequently in my videos because that's what I want you to understand. I get it. You're going through life. Trust me, even though I make these videos with conviction and I make these videos and I speak to y'all confidently, I'm going through life right now. I mentioned it on a previous video. I'm going through it. But at the same time, I'm not going to allow myself to stay in that position. I'm not going to allow myself to be like, oh, I'm going through this and I'm going through that, because I know that's not what's going to get me out of that. Being weak has never helped anybody. So I can't allow myself to be weak. I can't allow myself to cry every single day. I allow myself to feel, but I'm not going to allow myself to relinquish in those feelings. So I hope that this video was helpful for you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe, y'all, please, because y'all don't be subscribing. But thank y'all so much. Y'all been supporting me so well, and we are on the road to 260,000. Thank y'all so much. Have a great one.